Deion Sanders. Did you catch him on I Am Athlete podcast?
Now, I didn't know you were going to go to that, but I'm glad that you did because I actually caught some of it. And I had some shots yesterday for Channing Crowder, and I got still more in the clip for Channing Crowder right now. Oh my God.
Go ahead, elaborate.
So you watched it, right? So
yeah, I watched the whole thing. Yeah.
This is the second time Channing Crowder has gone in on HBCUs and talked about how, a gentleman like himself who went to the University of Florida, and how going to a Power 5 conference school will give you a better opportunity to make it to the NFL than going to an HBCU. Now, I will say this, right? He is right about that, right?
Yes.
Because unfortunately, and that's something that I've been talking about for well over a year now, unfortunately, NFL scouts are lazy.
Yeah. That's what Fred Taylor said that.
Exactly.
Fred Taylor said that.
I was like,
I thought about you when he said that. I thought about you.
Oh man, the questions and some of the comments that Fred Taylor made, I thought he may have been watching me for the past year. Because I'm like, dude, you're saying the same things I've been saying, and people kind of chuckled at me, with the exception of you, because you're smart too. Mm-hmm. And I've been saying these things, and people are like, what do you mean they're lazy? Duh. Look at the numbers. It basically constitute this. But, Channing Crowder, my God. Like I said, I still got more in the clip for you. I ain't done. When you said what you said, the first thing I thought about was the performance of the A&T's 4x4 track team. Yeah. And the fact that not only did they beat the times of those schools that are in Power 5 conferences, they ran the same heat as them. University of Florida was in the heat with them. Mm-hmm. Georgia was in the heat. There were several Power 5 conference teams in their heat. Now, I know they didn't win the national championship from that race, but they look to be favored to do so. So unless something drastic happens, they look to be favored to win the national championship in the 4x4. And they're probably going to beat other Power 5 conference teams in order to do so. But the thing that I was also thinking about was, I was like, okay, yes, sure. There are a lot of guys that are drafted out of, Power 5 schools, especially the University of Florida. But how well are they actually doing in the NFL right now? Right. So I went to my handy dandy notebook for all my Blues Clues fans out there. And I went ahead and I checked and I did some research, right? I went back through the books and I checked going back to the year in which Channing Crowder was drafted, right? Which is 2005.
Right.
And I said, okay, out of all these guys drafted since 2005 from the University of Miami, how many is that? It's well over 130, right? So I was like, okay, out of all of those 130 guys, how many Pro Bowl appearances? Out of 130 guys, it was 30 appearances, 9 of them for one guy. Your man out of Pittsburgh, Pouncey. Yep. I'm like, okay. And then, of course, another man that plays for Pittsburgh as well has a lot of appearances, too. That would be Joe Hayden.
That's right.
You know who has 3 appearances on there, according to ProFootballReference.com? Cam Newton. Where did Cam Newton graduate school from?
Auburn.
But of course, being that he spent some time in Florida, they also have him listed as a Florida alum. So you can go ahead and scratch one name off of that total of Florida players that were drafted. And then, of course, you can scratch off those total number of players that went to All-Star game or to Pro Bowls as well, right? Mm-hmm. And that's not including probably other players that transfer from Florida that have Florida in their books. But I digress about that. I'll still give you your 130, right? So of those 130, guess how many first-team All-Pro selections out of that 130?
What's that?
2.
Just 2.
One of them going to Cam Newton.
Wow.
You know who else has 2 first-team All-Pro appearances in 3 seasons of playing in the NFL?
I'm thinking Pouncey.
No. I'm actually thinking someone from the HBCU ranks.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What's this?
Yeah, that would be Darius Leonard. Straight out the mud, out there in Orangeburg, South Carolina, coming out of South Carolina State. One player, 3 years, one more All-Pro appearance than 130 Bamas. That's why we're saying if you give these guys an opportunity to go to an HBCU, coaches be damned, facilities be damned. They still churn out talent in spite of Channing Crowder, in spite of everything that you said that you get at the University of Florida. That don't make you a dog. One dog out of South Carolina State University is putting up the numbers of 130 men. And I'm not even getting to Ron Arms. See, look at me. I'm so excited. I forgot your boy's name. Teron Armstead out of the Saints, and also, of course, Tariq Cohen. And that's also not talking about the other guys that played during that same time frame in which you were in the league too, Channing, like a Michael Strahan who was in the Pro Bowl in 2005, like Antoine Bethea that made it to several Pro Bowls himself, like Dominique Rogers-Cromartie that also made it to a couple of Pro Bowls. So yes, less guys that have as many, if not more, accolades as your University of Florida brethren.